What's up, guys? Welcome back to the film room. I'm excited to bring you some content from Euroleague. They just got done with the Final Four, and it just so happens that one of their best players is a phenomenal example of an aspect of the gap theory that we're going to look at in this video. And because I love helping you guys out, I'm giving away another free annual pass to Euroleague TV, so you won't miss a second of the action this upcoming season. All you got to do is smash that like button and comment gap theory in the comments, and I'll randomly select a winner at the end of the month of May. So now we're going to jump into this content. For those of you that are new to my channel, the gap theory is a series of concepts that happen in every level of basketball, and I think it's the easiest way to teach the game. And for all of my day ones, hopefully by now you can recite this back to me as you're watching this, but the gap theory is all about making two people guard one, which is how you gain an advantage in basketball, and you typically do that by winning closeouts and creating mismatches. None of this works without having great team spacing, because spacing creates gaps, and all of these things work together to create this fluid way of playing basketball. But this video is going to focus on one of the pillars, which is creating mismatches, and the reason I want to talk about it is because Fenerbahce, who just won the Final Four, had a player on their team who was a mismatch nightmare all year long, and we're going to break down his game. This is Nigel Hayes-Davis, and he was one of the best post players in the world this basketball season. And when we talk about this aspect of the gap theory, a mismatch is when a player has the ability to score without needing any extra help, and they can do it consistently regardless of the defensive scheme. Typically where you see this is either a guard who is very quick that can get by his matchup all the time, or you have a post player that has the ability to score in a one-on-one situation. This is what Nigel is phenomenal at, and I want you to see multiple clips of how easy he scores it in the post so that you can understand what a true mismatch looks like. So if you're a player, this is something that you could incorporate into your game to become a huge asset, and if you're a coach, you should be identifying players in your program who have the potential to grow in this skill, because having the ability to play through the post creates a ton of advantages for your team. Now, what makes this an advantage for your team night in and night out is when you can identify these mismatches, and that's what Nigel is phenomenal at. When he comes down the court, as soon as he sees that he has a matchup that he can score against in the post, he walks them down to the post, and then I want you to notice that even as the defense is all honed in on him, he is skilled enough that he can still score in that situation. So it's not just about having the skill set, but you also have to have the IQ. Once he sees that he's got a good matchup, he runs straight to his spot, and his teammates are ready to get him the basketball because they also understand what a problem he is for the defense. But the reason posting up is such a valuable skill to have is because you can do it from anywhere. One of the things that Nigel will do is start on the perimeter, and he has the ability to back his man down all the way out at the three-point line. So because his team has good spacing, like we talk about in the gap theory, they make sure that they give him room so that he can operate even if he starts all the way behind the three. But one of the best ways that you can create mismatches is by setting on-ball screens. Fenerbahce will take the player who is being guarded by the smallest guy on the other team and go set a ball screen to create an even bigger mismatch for Nigel, because a lot of ball screens will force a switch, and now Nigel has an even bigger mismatch than he might have had against his own matchup. So this is an area that you can take advantage of if you have a player who might not be the biggest, but he's good in the post, is set screens to get him on a smaller defender early in the possession. Now I want to break down some of the details of why Nigel is so good once he catches the ball. First of all, he is very patient. As soon as he catches the ball, he turns and looks to the middle of the court to identify where the help defenders are to make sure he's not being double teamed or somebody on his team isn't open. And then after he feels comfortable, that's when he starts to go to work. Too often, players catch the ball in the post and they want to dribble it immediately, but by taking that second to catch and identify where the help defense is, you can make better decisions. So here, Nigel sees that there's no help and he gets right to his move. But he's also not afraid to take his time and get to the exact spot that he wants to get to. Watch how patient he is on these next two possessions. Now, one of the main aspects of the gap theory is that creating mismatches is designed to make two people guard one. Nobody is just going to let Nigel score every single possession without trying to do something different. So once this mismatch is created, Fenerbahce looks to get the ball into him, and once that ball goes in, look how the defense collapses because they don't want to give up an easy two, and that's going to lead to rhythm kick-out shots like these. So this is how these gap theory principles work together. By creating the mismatch, it makes two people guard one because they feel that they need to help, and that leads to these kick-out rhythm shots. And what makes these kick-outs available is by maintaining great spacing. And when you understand how these principles work together, you can start to bait the defense. So now the ball's going to go into the post, and watch how patient Nigel is. It's almost as if he's daring this help defender to come over and dig, and the moment that he gets too close, there's two people guarding one. They maintain that great space, and it leads to a rhythm kick-out three. So this is an example of all of these components working together. He's going to go into an early drag ball screen and headhunt the point guard to create the biggest mismatch, then he walks him straight down to the post. Once they get it in, he's going to be patient and find the nearest help defender, because once he helps, you have two people guarding one, which means his man is going to be open and he's able to dump it off right after the help comes for this easy dunk. So once you can establish that consistent mismatch, you have to look for where the help defender is coming from. Watch how he recognizes the low man is cheating over to help and the big is also calling for a lob. So they both saw the exact same thing, but he made the safe bounce pass instead. And this is why spacing is the foundation of all of these principles. If you know where your teammates are at as soon as the help comes, you instinctually know where the ball should go because you know where your teammates are supposed to be. And if you're wondering what good spacing looks like, you should have players on the opposite wing and in the opposite corner unless they're cutting at all times when you have a post up. Because as soon as two people get to the ball, that wing and corner area create the most space between your players and it stretches the defense. But it's also perfectly acceptable to run actions off the ball as well. When the ball goes to the post, even setting a simple down screen can work really well because players that are supposed to be helping are going to be caught staring at the ball, and that can create open shots. And here's something very simple that you can incorporate to get an open catch and shoot three. They go right into an early drag ball screen on this cleared side to force this mismatch with the point guard, knowing that the defense is going to have to help on the midline. And as soon as they get all of this help here, the big is going to call for a skip pass, and he's going to set a flare screen as the ball gets thrown to take away the closeout. Now, one strategy that you'll need to prepare for is if teams try and front in the post to take away that initial entry. One of the ways that you can handle this is by getting the ball to the middle of the floor. Because if you don't have a great angle to throw the ball in here because of where that help defender is in the hole, by reversing it to the top of the key, it's going to pull him out, and now you have a better angle to throw it over the top. The other thing you can do is work that defender up the line, because the higher you post up, it creates more separation between where the ball needs to go and where that help defender's at. Now just understand that if you do throw it over the top, he's probably going to rotate, but now you've got two people guarding one and you know exactly where the ball needs to go. But the thing that separates good players from the best in the world and what makes Nigel Hayes-Davis so elite is that not only can he score one-on-one in the post at an elite level and he can force help defenders and make the right decision, but he also has the ability to make a second defender commit, and he's so skilled that he can score over two defenders. There are virtually no situations where it is a good idea for a player to draw this much help in the post and then make the decision to shoot it anyway. Any coach would tell Nigel you need to get the ball out of your hands in this situation, but he is so elite that he can still find ways to score. And that's what makes him a EuroLeague Final Four MVP. I truly appreciate all of the comments that you send me about how this stuff is helping you see the game differently, and please believe that I read every single one. Don't forget to like and comment Gap Theory if you want a chance to win that annual EuroLeague pass. Thanks for coming through. We'll see you next time in the film room.